So let's say that you got a Canvas app that you developed using SharePoint lists, and these lists have grown a lot, the number of items inside them, and now your Canvas app has gotten slower and slower. Well, in this video, I will give you some tips that if you don't know about them, they will help you a lot and on how to very quickly apply them to improve the experience with your application. But before that, please hit the like, subscribe, and if you want to contact me directly, I will gladly help you out or your organization. Please let me know. Not via LinkedIn or the comments. I use email instead. So please go to the description box in the YouTube video, click into the link to my personal page, and there you will find a form that you can use to contact me, and then I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks. So here we go. We have SharePoint lists with lots of data. Actually, we go to list settings. We have 6,000 items. Going above the threshold of 500 that you probably know, that is the limit where things start getting clunkier when you work with SharePoint lists. And we will illustrate a couple of tips as well on how to optimize staff when using this very simple application to work with SharePoint in a more optimized way. All right, let's get to it. So the first tip is just a couple of clicks away. Basically, what we got here is a list with 4 columns: text column, date column, text column instead of a choice column. I'll tell you why in a second, and then a text area column here. This list, we go to list settings. When we have more than 5,000 items, what's happening is that when you try to filter with your Canvas app, you won't get data after those 5,000 items because Poras is not able to get that data because there's plenty of data already in the list. So what we have to do is create indexes. What are indexes? Well, indexes are very easy to understand. Basically, in any database, SharePoint list or a SQL server or whatever, what we have is that in a table, a list like this, or in a table in the end, same, we tell the table, hey, if I search or filter using this column, please use that index to be quicker and find things easier. That's what we are doing when we configure an index within any database system. So with SharePoint is not different. We go here, index columns, and here you'll see that we can only create up to 20 indexes. Why? Because, well, there's a limit to all tables. In SharePoint is 20 by design. This is technology limitations. Because behind the scenes, when we create an index, we are creating a data structure behind that we don't see. It's inside SharePoint. That's going to help any service that uses a list search or filter via that column. So behind the scenes, when you do a filter in Power Apps, you go first to this index, the data structure, and that is going to help SharePoint give you the proper data back. And what we have to do basically is then create a new index, and these are a couple of clicks away. As I mentioned, here you will see all the columns that you can use for things. Not all columns can be used to configure an index. And then, for example, the title column, here we just need to hit the create button, and this is going to take, the creation is going to be instantaneous, let's say, but then the indexing of the column, so creating that data structure behind the scenes, that's going to help you filter the column properly. It's going to take a while. So the recommendation is create your indexes as soon as you create your list, or as soon as you create a column that you are going to be needing an index for. And actually, there's a limitation. When you have more than 20,000 items are in the list, you won't be able to create an index for that column. So again, the recommendation would be you create your index, and then you as a developer have to think about, okay, what columns do I want to filter and are going to be used for filtering? Probably not all columns, and there are also delegation limitations that we can talk about in a different video. And then you have to think about the 20 column limitation, and then think, okay, let's say we want to use these many columns for indexing. Just configure that from the beginning. Now, another quick fix to optimize your data and your app is just delete the data that you don't need. So archive older data. And This may sound trivial, but it's actually a very intelligent strategy. Why? Because probably you are using this. In this case, this list has been created with ChatGPT. I did try to use Copilot, but it couldn't create me an Excel file, so I'm quite disappointed with the Copilot license. But anyway, when you got plenty of data, you're probably using the list, in this case, for instance, is for inspections. So you want to track with an app inspections for the current year, maybe, so that operators can perform the inspection with the list. And then the older data is no longer of use for the users of the app. Maybe it's useful for reporting purposes, but not for the app. So what we do is, okay, let's get the older data in an archiving list so that we don't overload the current list or the list that's used by the app. And then if we want to get insights from that data, then we build a report using the archival data, the archiving list, and the list that is used by the app, then it's more efficient. It's loading better because we have less data, and we are archiving maybe with a flow, with a PowerShell script, the older data automatically after, I don't know, maybe 9 months, 12 months, whatever it is, the constraint for your business case scenario. All right, now let's take a look at how to optimize very quickly the formulas that you are using in your Canvas app. So we got here the list basically in a gallery, the title, the status column, and this notify to. Let's get back to the list. So we have the title and the status, and the notify to column comes from a related list here. So notify column, for each of the status we have a notify to. So if the status is done, they notify to this person. This is what we call master data, and that's why we don't have here a choice column, because we want to have more dimensionality, more information around the status columns. And we used a text column, which is also going to give us less problems in the long run when working with SharePoint lists. So this is specific to SharePoint, not to Dataverse. If we have choice columns, I prefer to use a master data list, and then what we do is relate in this list, instead of just having the column here, we relate it with the ID of the specific choice. And then if we need to change the title to scheduled instead of whatever we want to put there, then we just change it here. But then in the Canvas app, because we are using the ID to relate it to, then we will display the updated name without needing to change everything in the data set or the formulas in your Canvas app. So what's going on here then? Let's go back to the app. So we have here these rows, and probably you want to display the notify to, which is in this other list, the master data list. You will be tempted to just do a lookup to that SharePoint list and then say where the title is this item.status, then this is a person column, give me the display name. What's going on here is that then for each of these rows, then for this column, you are telling Power Apps to do the following. You will say, okay, for this value, go to the SharePoint list, to the list, and get me back the display name of that person column. So for each of these rows, you are performing this operation, which is going to consume networking resources, make your app slower, and the more stuff you have in here in the screen, the worse it's going to get. So instead, what we can do is create a collection to handle that internally, because typically this master data information is not going to be more than 2,000 records of master data, and that is completely manageable with a local collection, a local array in your app. So let's do that, and let's go to the invisible and then quickly create clear collect, call master data, and just get the information from this list. Okay, so we go back to this screen. Now this is loaded, and let's copy this and basically modify only this part of the formula. So just by doing that, changing where we are doing the lookup from, we are doing this query, this lookup to the local collection in memory. We don't need to get it outside into SharePoint, and this way this is going to load more smoothly. Now, the second tip that you can apply right away is with your filters. And this may sound like a silly one, but let's take a look at this search filter. So we have here start, whatever we, station, okay. So you see with every character I'm typing, you see that it's automatically doing a search, and you can see that in this text label that is just displaying the text from this input, text input control. So if we change a character here, it's going to change automatically here, and with every key in your keyboard that you are typing, you are also sending the instruction for Canvas app to perform this filter. But typically we want to write a word, not just a character when filtering, right? So station, or I think there was a stat date, I think here as well. This is just random data generated by ChatGPT. So what we want to do is for the query for the filter to be delayed. So what we have to do is there's a property here called delay, and we can just change it to true for the control. And then if let's say that we want to here stage, for example, it takes a second to load. So the control takes a second to trigger the event to tell everybody else, hey, my text has been updated, and then thus this has been changed in a delay manner. Instead of for every character doing the query, just wait a second and then do the search with the full word. And last, patching with the Canvas from the Canvas apps using formulas instead of Power Automate flow, because we want to do a bulk, which is going to be the thing that we're going to talk about, a bulk operation with Power Automate. That's a whole different video. So let's say that we want to use this input control and this button to change the records that we are going to be selecting with this checkbox. So we select with the checkboxes, and then we're going to change the title with the text that we will submit in here. So we wouldn't do this exactly like that, but let's quickly in the unchecked collect call rows to update with this item, okay. And if we click, what's happening is that calls to let's go to here, calls to update view table. We have these 3 rows in here, right? So what we would typically do is here do a for all, right? And first would be call rows to update, and then we will do here patch, and then the big list with this record, and then with the title change, right? Title, it's whatever the control name is. So here basically the text, boom. So if we do this, which is completely fine, what we are doing in reality is for each of these items in this collection, perform this patch. So instead of doing that, what we want to do is perform what is called a bulk operation. So submit this new information in bulk in a batch. How can we do that? Just tweaking a little bit how we are performing the patch using the collection. Let's take a look at how to do this. So first, let's add the new title that we want to put here. So something really not harmful at all. And let's then use this collection and say first update the title, and let's do this. I wouldn't do this way. It would be in the really in the checkbox, for example, and here what we would do is if 1 equals 1 is true, then basically a title. I just do an update, no non-update if, but I'm used to more using the update if. It will be here, yeah, the text. Okay, we do that, update, then we have here now the new title, no more death and the fed. Okay, what we can do now is just in a single statement, just do a patch for the big list like that, instead of doing a for each, for all. And what this is going to do is basically pick the whole array, the whole collection, and submit it to SharePoint. If we click, all right, this is done. quicker than just row by row, because we're doing just one request instead of 3 or as many as we have selected. And here it is. All right. Okay. And the last tip would be just use Dataverse. In this channel, I'm trying to showcase you how Dataverse is far superior than SharePoint as data source. Power Platform is built on top of Dataverse. That's already a good enough reason. But for any of these filtering, full text search, which we don't have here in SharePoint, and other things, is far superior. But if you are not able to overcome the licensing costs, you are stuck with SharePoint or whatever is the reason, here are some actionable tips that I hope serve you well. Thank you very much, and see you in the next one.